I took a break from dating. I was in one serious relationship after another, and I guess I was very guarded. So I knew that I needed to change something because I was not even dating at all for the last like 2.5 years. So when I saw you online, there was just something about you and your voice and your personality that really resonated deeply with me. And then I spoke to you and I was hooked. And there was just a lot of material. There was a lot of support. So it really changes like your whole thought process on just when you meet somebody or even when you're reading profiles, like you really start to look at things differently. And so that even when you're not doing the work, you can't stop doing the work.
Because it gets in your head and it's
yeah, absolutely.
It changes you, right?
Right.
And so how did it change you? Tell me how it got, like, what are some of the things that got in your head and that you couldn't stop thinking about?
I think just when you talk about how women, can be or how they can attract men and like what men are actually looking for, it's so different than like what we think or what we're used to because of the reactions and like the response that we've gotten for years doing online dating. And so it kind of just shines a new light on all of that. So it just really changes like my own perception because they react differently when you wouldn't expect them to, or when they do things that are inappropriate. Your reaction could change their reaction. So you saying or questioning them, like, why would you feel comfortable enough to do that? Instead of just kind of blocking them or not talking to them, but really calling them out and having a discussion, like it can totally change things there. So people are so used to hiding behind phones or computers or whatnot. So I think just it's really changed how I think about men or how I think men perceive me.
That can feel empowering to know, oh my God, I've been doing the same thing over and over again,
Well, and you think you're changing it, but you're really not. And so even just doing a lot of the exercises, it brought up so much of my own fault to where you just perceive yourself so differently, and it just makes you more aware of yourself, like really self-aware. So that was probably the biggest change for me.
Can you tell me more about that? Like what exercises in particular? Like what
I think when you do like your final 5 and when you really dissect your major relationships and then you look at how you attracted that repetitively, like, and then you really start to break it down and look at how you possess some of those qualities, and maybe you don't, but some of them you do, or some you attract to make yourself feel more secure or whatever it is. So really it just gives you this whole insight that maybe you didn't want to see, but now that you see, you can't unsee it.
I love that. You can't unsee it.
Yeah, it's there now. So that was like a huge kind of awakening.
Well, and again, I mean, my goal is that once you see it, you can do something about it, right?
Right. Yes.
It gives you the power to make the changes that you need to make so that you can have the man that you're looking for, so that that can actually happen for real.
Right. Yeah. And for me, even though I put out what I want, I think sometimes when it comes to men, I kind of just go along because there is, whether there's attraction or just attention, it's kind of nice. But then doing this, it makes you take a step back and realize, but is this what I've been trying to call into my life? Is this the man that like I want to be with? And then you kind of have this like aha moment where you're like, absolutely not. Like, what am I doing? Now that you're getting to know them, like you get to just make that decision. But it's so easy to get caught up in, the everyday calls and texts and the monotony of like that type of relationship. So it's definitely eye-opening.
And it held you accountable, right?
Right.
Like you probably would have gone on, you met somebody or somebody came back into your life and, you gave it another try, which is great. because he had been really persistent. And you found out very quickly, or we found out together by asking the right questions,
Right.
that he's not the right guy for you.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
And he does possess a lot of great qualities.
Mm-hmm.
They're just, he also doesn't possess a lot of very important qualities. So, and that's, I don't know. I feel like completely good with that
Mm-hmm.
because we did try. We did look into it. Like, I don't know.
But you did, and you would have always wondered,
Right.
right? Like if you don't go there, you would have always wondered. But because we were working together, I think, it became a really great, would you agree that it became a great learning experience for you?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. And what did you learn from it?
Well, I got called out on my stories and excuses or bullshit.
Who called you
And
out?
well, really what it is none of that kind of white noise really matters because ultimately, like, regardless of what he said or what he did or didn't do, is it what I'm looking for? Is this something that's worth my energy or time?
Right.
After the work, the books, the course, like everything that I've done to kind of evolve, like, am I going to settle for this? Is this what I've been trying to manifest? Absolutely not. So why go on any longer? So really that's what it did, was kind of just like knock all of that out.
And you also did something that, you really got to be present to something that is really a repeating pattern for you of not asking the harder questions and letting things go on and
Yeah,
not
it is
getting them. It is what?
it is difficult. It's awkward. So that did feel empowering because I did it, and I did it in a loving way, and I wasn't rude or like harsh about it. And afterwards it was like, I don't know. It just was funny because I think I knew all along, but I kind of like let it go because it was kind of unknown whether my intuition told me something otherwise. So then once it was like definite and I got those answers, it was kind of like, what am I doing?
I think one of the things, and I want you to speak to this, one of the things that I see is that people don't know what they're getting into when they start this process, right? I mean, it is a leap of faith. You have no idea when you say, okay, I'm going to do this, what you're getting into. Can you
Yeah.
talk about that?
Well, I think for me, and I think for most people, it's really important to do it for yourself and not to find a relationship, but really to do it for yourself regardless of the outcome, because you're going to take stuff from the entire course. You're going to take stuff from all the people, the relationships, my relationship with you or the women on the calls. And so if you're going into this just to get a guy or just to get a relationship, you're probably going to be let down because really you need to do the work. So that's like kind of what I've spoke about with like my clients and friends, is just that, whether I end up in a relationship immediately in this or after it, that's not why I'm doing this. I'm doing this to figure out like the root issue, like why I'm closed off, why I'm guarded. Like those are all things to protect myself. But like if I'm one relationship, but yet I can't seem to like let down my guard, it's not going to happen. So that's why this type of program is so important.